What's up, witches? It's Luna the Swamp Witch here with an unboxing for you. I am starting in on my mini haul, courtesy of the U.S. government. Thank you, Uncle Sam, for the funds for some more decks. Let me zoom you in. This is the Hermetic Tarot. One that I've looked at and coveted for a while. And I want to start off by saying that I do not do these unboxings, and I don't collect as an expert, and I don't have any aspirations to become an expert. However, looking at all the decks, I collect because I'm a reader and because I'm fascinated with the artwork and the variety in them. But, as a side effect, I am learning more about the variety of decks and the different species of tarot decks that are out there. So the Hermetic Tarot, I want to start off by reading part of the introduction so we can just have a little bit of a grounding of what we're looking at. This says, based upon the esoteric workings of the Secret Order of the Golden Dawn by Godfrey, Dowson, U.S. Game Systems. The copyright on this is 2006. So not that old of a deck, but it's been around for a while. Let's read a little bit. The unique talent of Godfrey Dowson is revealed in the Hermetic Tarot deck. U.S. Game Systems, Inc. is proud to reissue this deck in recognition of its historical and artistic importance. So it's been around and then out of print and now reissued. Let's hope that's the case with a lot of other decks as well. I'm sure U.S. Games has some stuff in the archives that could really use a reissue. The details and symbols in each card reveal many of the esoteric workings of the Secret Order of the Golden Dawn that flourished around the turn of the century. Founded in 1888 as a secret magical fraternity, the order counted among its members some of the foremost occultists and writers of the period, including MacGregor Mathers, Arthur Edward Waite, Dion Fortune, Paul Foster Case, Aleister Crowley, and W.B. Yeats. After cessation of the order's activities some 15 years after its inception, Waite, Case, and Crowley went on to issue their own decks, the Rider-Waite, or what people are calling the Smith-Waite deck now. BOTA, which stands for Builders of the Adytum, A-D-Y-T-U-M, not sure how to pronounce that, and Thoth Tarot decks, respectively. Crowley first published a description of the order's card designs in the Equinox in 1912. The Equinox, obviously a publication. Prior to World War II, Israeli Rigardi included a description of the cards in his 4-volume set, The Golden Dawn. Crowley's deck was not published during his lifetime. He worked with Lady Frida Harris, the artist, for 5 years, from 1938 to 1943, before the deck was completed, but it wasn't actually published until 1969, 22 years after Crowley's death. The early members of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn were encouraged to prepare personal tarot packs for their own use based on Mathers' deck and his work. The society set down certain instructions for its members to follow, but these instructions were abbreviated at best. Not surprisingly, as time went on and new members copied decks based upon previously drawn decks, the variances and modifications grew more and more pronounced. Since Mathers' original tarot deck has not been handed down, today's researchers of the Order of the Golden Dawn, whose numbers grow and flourish in Europe and the USA, often assign personal interpretations and modifications to their own version of the tarot as it might have existed in the order more than 80 years ago. So it goes on about the history of this, but I'm really interested here because it says a slightly different description of the cards is found in the book T, The Tarot, by Mathers and others. Crowley included the book T in 1912 in his Equinox Volume 1, blah, blah. I have a deck called T, the New Tarot, that's like from the 70s, and it's very weird. And now I want to go back to that deck. And, it's sparking my curiosity in some of the history, but not, to the point of obsession where I'm going to go and, absorb all of the history of the various paths the tarot has taken. Because I'm not interested in being an expert, but good to have some kind of grounding, and I'm happy to know, to have my knowledge expanding. So box here, as you see, this is a black and white deck, and you can see, the sort of symbology that's included here all around. So this is going to be a symbol-heavy deck. On the other side, we have an image of the Emperor. Hermetic Tarot, based upon the esoteric workings of the Secret Order of the Golden Dawn. The Hermetic Tarot's esoteric designs emphasize the Golden Dawn's astrological attributes, with further Sephirotic, angelic, geomantic, numerical, and Kabbalistic elements. Now revered as a classic, this deck's black and white artwork by Godfrey Dowson features intricate detailing that highlights the powerful symbolism. And as I was looking on Wikipedia to get a little more information, mostly I started looking, what's BOTA? I'd never heard of that before. They talked about the Golden Dawn wanting its followers to color their own deck, that these decks were produced in black and white so that someone could color their own deck, and they thought that was important. And I can tell you what a valuable exercise that would be. I've talked many times about just the brain and magic and the brain, meditation and the brain, and how when you engage more parts of your brain in any activity, the more parts of your brain you engage, the more solidly something will be rooted, and the more easily accessible those symbols and things will be rooted. So we know right brain speaks in symbols. That's the gateway to the collective unconscious, to, dipping into the psychic well, as it were. And if you color a deck, first of all, you're going to spend a lot of time looking at that symbol. Your right brain is going to be absorbing things. Color is going to be engaging even more. And then you've got the whole tactile and manual aspect of it. So, and you're going to be thinking words. So, wow, what a great way to internalize a deck. All right. So much for a 7-minute introduction. Let's go. Here's the face card. There's the back. And then we have the another face card. So we have two really great blocking cards here. One possibly could be used as a blank card. The Hermetic Tarot by Godfrey Dowson, considered to be one of the most important esoteric tarot decks created in the 20th century. The Hermetic Tarot is now back in print in response to considerable demand. Godfrey Dowson's subtle designs emphasize the Golden Dawn's astrological attributes while also integrating angelic, numerical, and Kabbalistic elements. So kind of what I just read here. The black and white artwork features intricate detailing that highlights the powerful symbolism in both the minor and major arcana. All right, now we start. This one's called The Foolish Man. And at the bottom it says the Spirit of Ether. We have the symbol for air, and we've got the man and the dog, and he's holding, maybe that's a poppy. There's the symbol for Pluto here. There's his little kit bag. There's a symbol here that I do not know. I'm sure there are going to be many symbols here that I absolutely do not know, not being a ceremonial magician. We've got a crocodile here, waves, all kinds of stuff that's unfamiliar if you have learned the Smith-Waite deck. The Magician. This is the same image from the Thoth Tarot. The one that I have came with 3 different magician cards, and that's one of them. We've got Hebrew alphabets, we've got the symbol for earth, and we've got all 4 symbols, all that. Wings. So, you know what? I'm going to zoom you in just a little bit more here, because there's a lot of detail I don't want you to miss. That's better. This says the Magus of Power, the High Priestess, the Priestess of the Silver Star. So we've got her 2 columns. Certainly you see things that are familiar, but then there's an awful lot more as well. The Empress is daughter of the mighty ones. The Emperor, son of the morning. There's a bee, there's an eagle. The Hierophant, Mages of the Eternal Gods. Wow. It's just all kinds of stuff. Is that an elephant I'm looking at? I can't tell. I see a tusk. Is that a trunk? Hard to tell. The Lovers, Children of the Voice Divine. Let's stop a moment and just refer to the book and see how much detail they give you when they're describing the images. Let's go to, let's look at the Lovers, where we're at. Lovers, Children of the Voice Divine. Let's see here. Children of the Voice Divine, Zane, sword. Okay, Zane must be a Hebrew character, possibly. God's vow, nail, hay. Okay, there are, yes, I think that's a Hebrew character. Andromeda is shown chained to a rock and threatened by a dragon rising from the waters of stagnation. Perseus quickly wields a sword to protect her against the dragon. At the upper right of this card appears the sign for Gemini. It is important to study this card along with card 14, Temperance, Sagittarius. The Lover's card also pertains to Sagittarius, the archer, hence the bow and arrow. At the upper center, right there, very fine. Although the Lovers and Temperance are opposite cards, they're very closely and strongly connected. Okay. So we do get a lot of detail. I wonder, this must be a signature. That funny little symbol must be a signature because it appears on every image. Okay. The Chariot, Lord of the Triumph of Light. There's Cancer, Crab. Fortitude, Daughter of the Flaming Sword. Look at these. I mean, wow. So obviously, the study of a deck like this could actually walk you to an initiation experience because you are internalizing an entire set of esoteric symbols, mages of the voice of light. And whether you would use this deck or not, the study of it would inform your use of whatever tarot you are using. The Wheel of Fortune, Lord of the Forces of Life. So we don't have you see the difference in them. There's going to be a lot of comparing unboxings going on. There's before or after tarot that I'm going to do in a comparative way. This might be a setup for doing a comparative between Thoth, Rider-Waite, Smith-Waite, Hermetic, BOT Marseille, Tarot de Marseille. They talk about that one as well. Okay. Justice, Daughter of the Lord of Truth. And that's Libra. Look at the yin-yang split apart. The Hanged Man, Spirit of the Mighty Waters. You got a Star of David on a butt cheek and an upside-down Ankh. Neptune. Water. Fascinating. Scorpio, Death, Child of the Great Transformers. So here we see Death not on a horse. We see it as a skeleton with the scythe. Look at the symbology. Yowza. Temperance, Daughter of the Reconcilers. You see Capricorn and Scorpio there. The Devil, Mars, Saturn, Lord of the Gates of Matter. Okay, what deck did I just do? The Spellcasters, I think, that had these, not two humans, but little demons at the feet of the devil. Lord of the Hosts of the Mighty is the Blasted Tower. The Star is the Daughter of the Firmament. Can you hear my neighbor's baby bouncing around out there? Oh my gosh. Interesting. The Moon, ruler of flux and reflux. Look at the scarab and the Egyptian imagery here. This is, wow, so much. The Sun, Lord of the Fire of the World. The Last Judgment, the Spirit of the Primal Fire. Universe, the Great One of the Night of Time. So instead of world, we have universe. Very different image there. The Last Judgment. Okay, that's familiar, but look how different the world is. We've got the symbol of Saturn. We have scythes. We've got the North Node in Taurus. Wings. And then just this kind of elemental whoosh going on. Fascinating. All right. Knight of Wands. Okay, since it's starting with the Knight, I'm wondering if we're going to do all of the courts together here. Let's find out. But Knight, it usually starts with Page. Okay, now I'm confused. Lord of Flame and Lightning is Knight of Wands. Okay. Boy, am I appreciating these titles at the bottom now. Queen of the Thrones of Flame is the Queen of Wands. King of Wands, Prince of the Chariot of Fire. So we go Knight, Queen, King, and then Princess of the Shining Flame. All right, got to go to the book. Court cards. So we are going through the court cards first. Minor, Knight, Queen, King, and Princess. Very strange ordering. So shit. I just pulled these pages right out the frickin' book here. I might have to restaple that one. Okay. Weird. It wasn't really hooked in. Yow. All right. So the knights we have... Okay, I gotta quit. I am pulling pages straight out of this frickin' book. I have now pulled 3 sets of pages out of this that didn't seem to be quite... All right. We have a table here. Fire, water, air, and earth. The knights are fire. No, the wands are fire. The knights and the wands are fire. The queens and cups are water. Kings and swords are air. Princesses and pentacles are earth. Okay. So the elemental sign at the top of all court cards are derived from the rulership of the card and offer important clues to card meanings. So like the Knight of Wands would be the fire of fire. The Queen of Wands would be the water of fire. So we've seen this in other decks, and I love that system. Before I ever saw that in a deck, I sat down. I've got a whole grid that I've worked on, like strenuously, looking at each of the elements through all the other elements. Okay, so here we go. Princess of the Shining Flame. Then we have the Knight of Cups, Lord of Waves and Waters. The Queen of Thrones of Waters. Prince of the Chariot of Waters. Air of Water. Water of Water. And the Princess of the Palace of the Floods. So the princesses are the floods, the kings are chariots, the queens are thrones, and the knights are lords, lord of the, I don't know if that will hold, but we'll find out. Palace. Somebody hasn't seen many tits in their life, I'm thinking. Okay, Lord of the Winds and Breezes, that's the knight. Queen of the Thrones of Air. Yikes, we've got a Medusa. Yeah. Prince of the Chariots of the Winds, so chariots again. And then Princess of the Rushing Winds. Okay, so palaces, that palaces obviously is with earth. So, all right, whatever. Knight of Pentacles, Lord of the Wild and Fertile Land. Queen is Queen of the Thrones of Earth. King is Prince of the Chariot of Earth, so they call the king a prince. And Princess of Pentacles is Princess of the Echoing Hills. Okay. Wow. Now we're into the minors. Ace of Wands, Lord of the Root of the Power of Fire. Whew. 2, Lord of Dominion. So we're borderline pip cards here. Yes. 3, Lord of the Established Strength. So this is more along the lines of the Thoth deck, where we do have pip cards with a little bit of additional symbology on them. 4 is Lord of Perfected Work. The 5, Lord of Strife. 6, Lord of Victory. 7, Lord of Valor. So we have keywords with Lord of whatever is the keywords. Now I want to compare this to the Thoth deck and see their keywords. 8 is Lord of Swiftness. 9, Lord of Great Strength. 10, Lord of Oppression. Look at that grid. It looks like a fence blocking you in, doesn't it? Ace is Lord of the Root of the Powers of Water. Lord of Love is the 2 with a very strange looking whales or dolphins or whatever they're supposed to be. They look very weird. 3 of Cups is Lord of Abundance. The 4 is Lord of Blended Pleasure. So these keywords I'm also recognizing from the Heaven and Earth Tarot. 5 of Cups, Lord of Loss in Pleasure. 6, Lord of Pleasure. The 7, Illusionary Success. 8, Abandoned Success. 9, Material Happiness. Absolutely, these are the ones that are on that Heaven and Earth Tarot, and probably the Thoth. Lord of Perfected Success is the 10. Ace of Swords, Lord of the Root of the Powers of Air. 2, Lord of Peace Restored. 3, Lord of Sorrow. 4, Lord of Rest from Strife. 5, Lord of Defeat. 6, Lord of Earned Success. 7, Lord of Unstable Effort. 8, Lord of Shortened Force. Well, that doesn't sound familiar. 9, Lord of Despair and Cruelty. 10, Lord of Ruin. And the Ace of Pentacles, Lord of the Root of the Powers of Earth. Lord of Harmonious Change. Lord of Material Work. Lord of Earthly Power. Lord of Material Trouble. Lord of Material Success. Lord of Success Unfulfilled is the 7. Prudence is 8. Material Gain is 9. Wealth is 10. All right. I think, I knew all my charcoals were going to burn out by then. Looking through, I've got in the back of my mind the idea of what I want to color this deck. I mean, it would take a lot because you've got a lot of small spaces on the deck. But, with some fine point Sharpies, that would be something to do. I mean, would I ever do it? Doubtful. Am I thinking about it? Why not? Okay. Let's prepare and ask. First of all, let's unzoom as I make you dizzy. There we are. As I ask my allies and ancestors, guides and guardians to come be present for me here now, and to speak through the rich symbology of this deck in honor of those that created it, I ask that you bring me messages that are clear and accessible and insightful and practical. All right. I offer this deck, the Fire of Azrael. And I offer fresh water to my guides and guardians. I also offer to the deck, by the offering of incense, I also purify it by air and fire, and may it be blessed and made whole by water and earth. All right, I'm going to set these two aside, although we want to do those as well, and the book. Boop, just a little bit of water there. All right. Let's have a shuffle. Knowing it's U.S. Games, this shall not be painful. So satisfying. Okay, I'm going to do 3 riffles. And then I'm going to cut. They're telling me 7. They are yelling at me to do 7. Okay. And when I say they, I'm talking about my guides. 4. Sorry. 5. 6. Last one, 7. Why 7? First of all, magical number. Second of all, it is said to be the number of shuffles that you need to get the deck most thoroughly mixed to start with. And it's that riffle shuffle. Okay, now let's focus in here. I would like this deck to give me insight into how my viewers can move beyond mere survival and from wherever they are now move into thriving and empowerment. How can we be living our best lives right now? And you know what? Okay, I have shuffled. I want to go back to the book here and look at what we've got in the back. We have the 10 spheres of the Tree of Life, the Kabbalah, the Celtic Cross. Spreading the deck and reading the cards. Okay, so we only give a Celtic Cross. I don't want to do a whole Celtic Cross. So we're going to do 3 card. Okay, 3 cards, please, to tell me situation, action, outcome of what we need to do to thrive, thrive, thrive. All of my viewers, everyone viewing this from wherever they are, whenever they view. Okay, they're telling me one more. All right, no jumpers. Very rare. Oh my God, you guys. Okay, you know how carefully I shuffled this deck. You watched it. King, King, Queen. King and Queen of Cups bracketing with King of Pentacles in the middle. This is no mistake. I'm like, oh, did I just fuck up and I need to shuffle again or whatever? But when you look at things that are symmetrical and bracketing that create a picture like this, it's not a mistake. So we have Prince of the Chariot of Waters, Prince of the Chariot of Earth, and Queen of the Thrones of Waters. We might do some extra cards just so we can experience something other than the courts. All right. So I'm sad that the book is falling apart. King of Cups, but it means I can just, grab these pages. Okay. King of Cups. A crowned and winged figure is seated in a chariot drawn by an eagle. Beneath the chariot is the calm lake. The armor of the kingly figure is decorated with feathers, so that shows that the king is symbolic of air. In his right hand he holds a drooping lotus, and in the other a cup charged with the sigil of the scales of Libra. A cup charged with the sigil of the scales of Libra. I do not see that at all. All right, take that one on faith, because they've told you we can see Libra up here, but that cup doesn't have any Libra anything on it that I can see. A snake hovers in front of the man there, and an eagle, where is it? Okay, and an eagle with outstretched wings is poised overhead. Rules from 20 degrees of Libra to 20 degrees of Scorpio. So, okay, meanings: subtle, violent, crafty, artistic, fierce nature with calm exterior, powerful. Wow. Okay, so we don't get actual one-to-one meanings of all the symbols that they've just related. I mean, the snake, the eagle can certainly be seen as attributes of Scorpio. The eagle certainly is symbolic also of air. But like the drooping lotus, can we talk about that, please? And that the air of water is violent. The air of water. Wow. Okay. Crafty artistic fear. I'm definitely going to need clarify. The Queen of Wands. Are you kidding me? All right, let's just keep going and see if I can, pull out of this a reading. So where we are now, we're talking about violence. Okay. Certainly this country is having another outbreak of gun violence of varying kinds, racially motivated, not racially motivated, personal. There's just this outbreak and upwelling of violence. Okay, so I'm going with this here. Fierce nature with a calm exterior. Wow. So there are people that you always read afterwards, well, he always seemed like such a quiet guy, because of course the gun violence has been all male. So, we're dealing with this. We're dealing with our fierce, violent emotions. And maybe, the conflict here, the air of water, is that our thoughts and our feelings, and conveniently they give us those symbols at the top there in case you don't know what those signs are, what element they are. But it's the thought and the emotional bodies that are constantly wrangling with each other. The thoughts we think generate emotions. The emotions we experience send us off into a storyline to justify one thing or another. So this talks about that conflict that we are in, where our logical mind is at odds with our emotional body. Okay, now, action to be taken is the earth. No, I'm sorry, the air of earth. Prince of the chariot of earth, airy part of earth, a winged figure, is seen behind a chariot drawn by a bull. He wears an ornate headdress and holds an orb downward to imply the planning involved in agriculture. Okay. In his right hand, the orbed scepter, topped by a cross, signifies the great work accomplished. That's that right there, even though we can't see his hand. Beneath the chariot grow many beautiful flowers representing fertility. The crest of the king is that of a bull, representing the element earth, rules from 20 Aries to 20 Taurus, meanings increased good and or evil, solid, character and intelligence, steady, practical application, reliable. Okay, so what we need to do, the action to be taken here, is we've got to get practicality into the mix here. When the mind and the emotions are tugging against each other and feeding each other in negative ways, when we find ourselves in emotional turmoil that isn't directly attributable to something that just happened, then we've got to look at our thoughts. And this is saying the question to ask here is, how does this serve me? Is this practical? Is what I'm doing with my mind practical in terms of the emotional impact it's having? So the words you think, how you characterize things, the phrases that you constantly replay in your head, talking about doing this in a practical way. So installing practical phrases in your mind, working with affirmations. Okay, this is great. The Queen of Cups. Let's look at the outcome. Sorry, got a gunky throat. Queen of the Thrones of Waters, the watery part of water. So this is the outcome. A fair young woman wearing a crown walks amid the lotuses of Isis and streams of water. To her right is an ibis, and behind her is a cup, from which issues a crayfish representing Cancer. Rules from 20 Gemini to 20 Cancer. The meanings are imaginative, poetic, kind, coquettish, good-natured. Notice that the key words... Okay, wait a minute. Let me see something here. Artistic, fierce nature. Okay, so it seems that and not okay. These have had like adjective meanings: graceful, poetic, enthusiastic, imaginative, poetic, kind. So attributes of a person we're describing. Poetry, except when we get to the princess. Hold on. Desire for power, enthusiasm, revenge. All right, until we get to the princess, which is Earth, and then they tend to be in noun form. That's interesting to me. So the Queen of Cups is saying that the outcome here is that we are then kinder to ourselves. We have access to the poetic side of our mind, the imaginative faculty, and we are more good-natured. So we're kind of getting into this violent frame of mind by the thoughts we think. Let's look at the one that I took to. God, I can't think of the word. I don't know. Addendums. Addenda. The Queen of Thrones of Flame. She says, so this is the Water of Fire. A crowned queen with long falling hair and resolute face is seated upon a throne surrounded by flames. Her right hand rests on the crown. I'm not going to read the thing. Adaptable, steady force, sympathetic, understanding when she wants to be. So the clarifier here, that's the word I wanted. The clarifier here talks about adaptability, steady force. I don't know that really clarifies, so I'm going to set her aside because the reading was quite sufficient here. We deal with the violence that is in our nature. It's inherent in all of our natures, folks. None of us escapes having Mars. It is to varying degrees in varying charts, but this is saying that we just need to deal with whatever violence and inner turmoil we have by being practical about noticing what's going on in the mind, the thoughts we're thinking, and if we do that and practically apply, some thoughts that are useful, like affirmations, installing some things through spell work, then we come out the other side much more open and emotionally balanced. Now, I do want to do another one because I want to see something other than court cards. I'm going to riffle shuffle again, just once. And then we're going to cut shuffle and do another 3 card. So we can see, I would like to see a major and some minors other than court cards this time, please. Okay, so same question. And there they are. And we get 2 majors and a minor. Thank you for hearing me. And then this is the first one that flipped out. We'll look at that last. Sorry. Actually, we'll look at that now. Another major. All right. I can tuck these back in. So we have Death card. And remember, this was the same question. All right, let's go back to the book for a second here. I realize I'm looking at it going, gosh, this is a short video. It's because I didn't really look through the book. So we had that introduction. We had an introduction to the Hermetic deck, and it says, pardon me, Purging the Bowling Ball by Godfrey, Dowson, and Stuart Kaplan. Revisions by Uri Raz. That tells me that the meanings that were written in this deck is Stuart Kaplan. And this introduction, that first introduction was written by Stuart Kaplan. All right. So he's the writer here. All right. The 3 elemental cards of the major arcana are the following. The 3 elemental cards. The 7 sacred planets of the ancient world are attributed to 7 of the tarot trumps. 3 elemental cards. It's therefore unnecessary to acknowledge an element. Instead, the trump cards indicate the causal action of planet signs, elements of fire, water, and air on the final synthetic element of Earth, ourselves. Interesting. So they only give 3 elements to 3 of the majors because we are the 4th element of Earth. All right. Planets. All right. Then we have the 56 minors comprise 40 pip and 16 court cards. Cards of the same number from each suit can be viewed together. So he puts them in as the 4 aces, the 4 twos, the 4 threes, and attributes each of these sets to one of the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life in the Kabbalah. So we have the 4 aces are Kether, the 4 twos are Chokmah, the 4 threes are Bina, the 4 fours are Chesed, and so forth. And we go through the court cards on those and then into the major arcana. Okay, let's go through. Oh, no, wait, let's look at the minors past the court cards. So he groups them together by number in that introductory section, but when you get to each of the suits, he goes through from ace to 10, dealing with the court cards separately. All righty, let's go to death, shall we? Doesn't that sound like fun? All right. It is child of the great transformers. Nun is the character fish. Fish, okay. I don't know what that fish means. Hold on, let me go back to this and see what it talks about as far as the majors. And okay, the 22 are constructed of 3 elements. Okay, I'm going to have to read more deeply, and I'm not going to do it right now. Death. So, back to the category of where we are now. Yeah, I get it. The sign of Scorpio appears at the upper right. At the upper left, the phoenix rises from smoldering ashes. Death is a skeletal figure with a long scythe whose metal tip gouges the top of a skull. A serpent rests on the top of another skull at the lower left of the card, while a scorpion crawls through a pile of broken bones. The skeleton alone survives the destruction of time and the aggression of nature, slowly working its way upwards. The meanings are time, involuntary change, transformation, death, and destruction. So where we are now, yes, we've dealt with death on a wholesale, on a mass scale globally. So where we are now is poised, not only having confronted the topic of death up close the way we have and en masse the way we have, we are also at a turning point here. This death card talks about something that ends forever. So we're at a turning point here and having to make a decision about, or maybe acknowledge things that have changed forever, that there are some things that are never going to go back to the way they were, before. Some of our habits, our ways of operating are not ever going to change or go back to the way they were before. So we acknowledge what has changed forever. Then we have the moon. God, I may actually go out and edit that out because I don't want to drive you guys nuts. Okay, the moon. Ruler of flux and reflux. Kof is the letter. Back of head, it says. Okay, the sign of Pisces at the upper portion of the card is shown by the new full moon. The new full moon. Okay. Emanating from the moon are 16 principal and 16 secondary rays, totaling 32, the number of paths of the Sefer Yetzirah. Both are 4 golden yods fall like drops of water from the moon. That's those. Showing its power over the flux of the world. The 2 towers represent the gateway of resurrection, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read all that. Description or meanings: deception, error, falsity, dissatisfaction, change. Change. So in view of the interpretation of this card, I'm going to focus on the change part here. And also on the dissatisfaction part, because, we also need to look at the lessons that death has brought us and the dissatisfaction with the way things are. And so we focus on what we're dissatisfied with, and then we decide what we're going to change. And since it's a major arcanum, it means change in a big way, lifestyle, the way we go about everything from the foundation up. Then the 3 of Wands. So now we get to experience a minor. Lord of established strength. We have the long description. Meanings: established force, strength, acumen, realization of hope, completion, success, nobility, wealth, power. So we do need to, if we decide what we want to change and we change, if we allow ourselves to change. And, the moon indicates phase, change of phase, things going through phases. So if we acknowledge that a phase has ended and it's time for us to move into a new phase and a new way of being, then we are rewarded with a realization of hope. We are rewarded with a sense of completion and success, with strength, empowerment, new ability, a new sense of strength and ability. So that makes a lot of sense. And now let's look at temperance. Wow, big, long description here. Realization, combination of forces, temperance and moderation. Temperance means strength. It's a strength that that allows you to stand firm. Temperance is what we do to metal when we make a sword from it. It's tempered through fire and water. Fire, conflict, heat, trials. Water, enduring the emotions of those, being plunged into an emotional state. And when we go through these things, we develop a strength of character that allows us not to fall prey to those emotions anymore. So temperance here says, while we are going through this lunar process here of change, which can also bring up a lot of emotion, and that can cause us to delude ourselves about things, that, my emotions, the emotions I'm having around this justify whatever I do. So temperance here says, no, we've got to reflect on emotional experiences of our past that have strengthened us, and allow those to inform the actions that we take now, so that we are acting fully informed by the past and what has worked in the past, and being clear-eyed about it and not deceiving ourselves, and justifying by, we don't justify spewing our emotions all over the place because of our woundedness. That's not a justification. So temperance says we go at it with a strength of character and we come out feeling successful, but we've got to acknowledge that some things have changed for good and forever. We've got to stop deluding ourselves, and we have to allow phase change to happen. Remember that the person with the greatest capacity for change wins. So, goddamn, that's a reading. I appreciate this deck. I really, really do. You don't get this much symbology and this much history and study and, this many spiritual disciplines, magical disciplines pulled together in one place without getting something that actually works, in my opinion. So, and the fact that it works so well is a testament to, what goes into it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to be unboxing something wonderful on Friday as well. And then next week, the before and after tarots. And I do believe I'm going to do those together. So that's going to be a whopping long thing. At any rate, if you really enjoyed it, think about sending me a donation or think about sending me a deck down below. Or if there's a deck that you're interested in that you have not seen me unbox, let me know and I will grab a hold of that deck for you. I'm happy to do that. Uncle Sam is happy to fund that for you. Anyhow, you can join my Patreon as well. There's a link down below. If you do, you will get on monthly Zoom calls where you have full access to me and asking whatever questions you want to ask. I actually need to get off of here because I've got a call in 20 minutes. All right, you guys, take care. I will see you next time. This is the Zen Witch. Blessed be.